Hello, and welcome to the world of Final Fantasy Tactics. This is, as far as I'm concerned, the greatest game of all time. I will be your host and sole person talking to you. We're going to start from the top. This is. So, a lot of times when I play this game, I forget that I'm being told a story because you just jump in as Ramza. But Lam is a scholar. I'm going to go ahead and skip this. But Lam is a scholar and he's like, tell me your name. But really, I typically just go with the default of Ramza. And for your birthday, you can pick your birthday. I am not going to. I'm going to pick today's date. I just kind of do that because it makes the game a little different every time. Because based on whatever your sign is, it makes a big difference in how your combat goes with other main characters' signs. I mean, every character's signs, but the only constant is going to be main character signs. So, for example, you fight Ygraph 3 times, and if you have normal compatibility, then he's always going to do the same amount of damage because at one point you fight him one-on-one and he is incredibly powerful. And if you have higher compatibility, he's going to do that much more damage to you. You will do more damage to him, but the one where you fight him one-on-one, that's a matter of survival. So that's kind of important that, if you're not well prepared, then he's just going to kick your ass that much harder. So what's going on here? The Agrius is trying to get the princess to kind of hurry up. And meanwhile, Gafgarian, who is a mercenary that you work for, you're the dude in the purple shirt, he is saying, hey, let's go. I'm getting paid by the hour, which I don't know if he's actually getting paid by the hour, but I don't know why you'd rush things because, you're probably just getting paid more if it takes longer. But I don't know. I think a lot of it for Gafgarian is going to be about bloodlust. So he wants to get out there and fight some people. That was my reminder that I'm going to be doing this. So as you can see, I'm ahead of the game. Literally, because it's a video game. So Ovelia is, anti-violent, so she doesn't like seeing combat done on her behalf. This first fight is really easy. You kind of can't lose because Gafgarian by himself could probably kill this entire squad. And that's just the nature of Gafgarian because, every time you do damage to him, he's going to, when he gets his chance to attack, he's going to do roughly 50 damage back to you. And that makes him just a hard opponent by himself. And 50 damage at this point in the game, because technically where you are right now is the end of chapter 1, beginning of chapter 2 as a prelude. And Agrius and Gafgarian are fighting about Gafgarian's like, let's kill everybody. And Agrius says, no, we don't have to do that. But I don't know why she says that. She's super into killing people too. So yeah, like I said, when you see this attack here, this guy had 57 health. He just lost 42. He's down to 15. And you saw in blue that Gafgarian was gaining that health. He doesn't need it at this point. It's just a matter of he has that available to him. So in this fight, it's really unnecessary because they're so overpowered. And Agrius here, who just said, no, let's not kill everybody, is going to just go ahead and use her stasis sword, which looks inferior to Gafgarian's attack, but in certain situations, these two sword attacks that you just saw, Agrius can hit up to 5 people at a time. It's really rare to pull that off, but it is possible. And Gafgarian, who I always want to say Jim Gaff again, his only hits 1 person. And they're both very effective. But, oh man, that would have been interesting. Weapon break. That move is going to make people like Gafgarian and Agrius borderline useless because without a sword, they're basically going to only be able to punch people, and that's no good for them. That makes them as just terrible, really. I mean, there's no chance we would still lose this. Like I said, Gafgarian could take this whole squad by himself. So Rad is doing some useless magic. It's going to, blind, perfect. Now they're really in trouble. Blind is one of the worst spells in the game. It only works in a situation where the opponent, let's say like the way the knight is facing Ramza. Normally, Ramza would have a default of, let's say, I think 15%, where he's going to, 15% of the time, he will block it. But if that individual was blind, it would be doubled. So, it sounds kind of good in that situation where you're going to block 70% of the time instead of 85. But it's just really rare that that is more effective than a spell like Paralyze or even just Fire, where you're actually doing damage to them. So, Blind, one of the worst Oracle spells in the game. So, and it's the same price as Paralyze. That's why I brought that up as an example. Whenever you're learning spells, it's 100 for Blind, it's 100 for Paralyze with job points. So Agrius just gains 16 EXP, 12 JP, JP or job points. I'm going to explain a lot of this game as if you've never played it before. If you have, a lot of this is going to be redundant, but there's some things in this game that I have played through so many times, and later on I'm like, I did not realize that was a thing. So it's game's pretty complicated in that regard. If this archer kills Les, I don't know her name. But anyways, yeah. So it looks like it's almost an even fight, but it's really not. Like it's like I took 2 of theirs, they took 2 of mine, but they're definitely gonna lose. Like despite the fact they got one of the knights. So, for example, one of the things that you might not realize early on, your default when you attack someone, you're going to get 10 job points if they're the same level as you, but it's going to vary slightly based on. So Gafgarian just leveled up. Unfortunately, we couldn't see how many job points he got. But like, okay, so this guest knight, level 8, is attacking someone that she killed. So that kind of ruined my example. Normally it would be 9, but she got 18 because when you kill someone, you're getting double the experience points. Job points are not affected though. So for example, Ramza is definitely not going to kill this guy. I say definitely, but he could get a critical hit, which he did not. So I know that Ramza is a level 9 because it says it above his health points and his magic points. And so this opponent I hit must be a level 8 because he got 9 job points instead of 10. Like I said, 10 is the default. And right now, Agrius got 18. She would have normally got 9 because he was 1 level lower. And I guess that's just incentive for you to go after someone stronger. I got to give it up. This they took out 2 of the blind. Actually, this might, as I said, it's really rare this comes in handy. So this might actually. So darkness, he's now blind. If he hits, okay. So the shield, it showed the shield blocking, but basically, he would normally have like a 75% chance of hitting it. All of a sudden went down to 50%. So it showed the shield, but in reality, it's just, I guess the idea is since he's blind, he doesn't aim as accurately. And you see the little 2 black dots, which are supposed to be his eyes blacked out. This little icon. You don't see it on their actual tiny faces. All right, so what's happening now is we heard a scream, and Agrius is like, oh man, I'm bad at my job. And then because obviously she was distracted, killing people like she said she didn't want to do. And you're seeing this mysterious golden red knight on a chocobo taking the princess. Apparently there's a lot of controversy because this is the original version, and in the new one, he says, don't blame us, blame yourself or God. And a lot of people thought that line was so obnoxious, and they changed it to something along the lines of, 'tis your place in birth that you should fault, or something that sounds like really bad Shakespearean. And a lot of people thought that was an improvement. That is cringeworthy to me. Blame yourself or God is kind of a cool line, but I don't know why people think that needs to be replaced. So at this point, Ramza's like, Delita, you're alive. And, we're going to go into chapter 1 and figure out why he is surprised by that. But I am actually going to stop it here after I give you a really quick summary. This is just describing that his name appears for the first time in a year, and you're starting 1 year before what you just saw, which doesn't really make sense because technically you have control of how time moves and you could go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And every time you move back and forth, that's 2 days. Like every step is 1 day. So if you go back and forth, it's 2 days. You could make more than a year and make this game not make sense. But I also want to bring up a lot of people get so mad because as the dialogue is moving along, it goes little money at like half the speed of everything else, and then it goes back to normal. And that's something that people have been really mad about in a long time if you go into like forums. So I just find it entertaining. Like it always stood out every time I replayed this game, which is millions of times. But I said I was going to stop it early, and that's what I'm doing now. This is going to be followed up with uh, a knight showing up and saying, "Hey, go kill these thieves," and then you're like, "Okay." After everyone's talking about rumors, so I'll stop it here, and I will pick up when the next battle is about to start. Thanks for watching, guys.